Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have an interesting young pioneer in early childhood education whose interest that Education World shares intensely with him. This is Raghav Himatsingka. He's a highly qualified young entrepreneur. Went to La Martiniere School, Calcutta, DPS, R.K. Puram, Delhi. From there on, he went abroad to the Georgia Tech University, where he qualified in industrial engineering, and then to Stanford to do a master's in management sciences. He returned to India and he worked in some family companies, mainly in the transportation and logistics business. The Ideal Movers, I think, was the name of the holding company, and several divisions within that, including, very interestingly, a business which was like an Ola for trucks. But unfortunately, the pandemic interfered with that business, and Raghav had to then look for a new business, and he started this company called Raising Superstars Private Limited. And it has developed a very innovative app called Prodigy Baby, which is for parents and for the development of children in their earliest years. Am I right?
That's right.
Okay, so let's commence our interview today. Raghav, despite being an engineering graduate and management sciences and working in industry, you suddenly transformed into an evangelist for early childhood care and education. What's the explanation or narrative behind this?
So I think it's a mix of being in a certain mind space at the time during pandemic, where I was out of job, my company had shut down, and I needed work. And at that time, I had just recently become a father as well. And I was super concerned about my child's well-being and education and future, etc. So that was like just top of mind for me all the time. And I was just like pushed against the wall because I had left my home, my office in Bombay. I'd moved back to Calcutta with my parents, and I had no work, and people were around me were asking, okay, what are you going to do next? And because this was top of mind, and I just started it as a sort of like a small sort of a business where I could just sustain myself and my family. So that's how it started. We said, okay, we'll do something very small. We no like big dream, venture funding or anything like that. And we'll see how it goes. But what we started had like a lot of efficacy, a lot of great outcomes and results. And people started asking us, okay, we also want to do what you're doing. So can you also share with us? And that's how we started sharing. And then it became much bigger than what we had originally anticipated. So there was no like well-crafted strategy or analyzing the target or market size or anything like that. It just happened very organically. And I guess the roots of all of this, why I was so concerned about my own baby at the time, is because of my own childhood experiences. And I was fortunate or unfortunate to have gone to some of the great schools and universities of the world and in India. But I was always very surrounded by super smart kids. And I used to feel like I'm not one of them, right? Like I used to be like, why do I need to put so much effort? And other people are like, without effort, they're like just acing everything. And I discovered that 85% of your child's brain or of a person's brain developed before the age of 6. So I'm like, boss, I don't want my baby to struggle and stress out like I had to throughout school and college. So I'll do whatever I can at this window of these first 6 years to see that he doesn't struggle later on. So that was, I think, the genesis of it all.
So you believe that the foundation of education, that's early childhood care, education and care, is very, very important, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not just my belief. I think science has proven it. Evolution proves it. There is evolutionary reasons for it. There's scientific reasons for it. I'm very happy to explain to you and to the audience as well. So basically, what happens from evolutionary point of view, right? Like if you think about it, a human baby, when they come out into the world, it's the most vulnerable baby of all species. A baby elephant comes into the world, they can start walking. A butterfly comes into the world, can start flying. But a human baby is so helpless and vulnerable, right? And yet, we are the species that dominate the planet Earth, right? How is that even possible? That is possible because when a human baby is born, they are born with extraordinary abilities to learn and develop very, very fast, right? They have to, otherwise we would not have survived as a species. So they are born with that special sort of genes for the first few years that you have to develop super fast so that you can survive. And that's how we have survived for so long, right? So that's like the evolutionary reason. But scientifically speaking, I guess you might already know, but there are like billions of neurons in our inside our brain, right? But when we are born, they're not connected to each other. They are like just dots into the brain. But as soon as we come into the world and we get all of this stimulus, we start seeing things. The baby starts seeing things, hearing things, and these brain connections, they start firing at each other. Neurons start getting connected, and they form what are called synapses. And just in 2 years, it's become like super muddled up. The brain becomes super muddled up. And then the brain starts cutting off these connections, which is called synaptic pruning. So it's essentially like if you do not develop these talents and skills very early on, at least at the foundational stage, the brains will cut off those synapses because they're not strong enough. So these connections are like this, they're not like this. The brain just snaps. So that's
evidently you did a lot of research into cognitive development and brain research. Am I right?
Sorry, what was the question?
You did a lot of research into.
So I am not a researcher. I don't have like a background in education, but I did read up a lot because, as I said earlier, I was super worried about my own son, right? It was not like, okay, I'll do something and create a company and it'll become so big. I was just like super concerned that he should not struggle like I had to struggle, especially surrounded by all these IIT kids, Stanford kids and all. So that's why I read up a lot. And then obviously when we started making it a company, then we got in experts, we got in educators, we got a professor from Yale to look at it. And they all said, yes, this is what research says. They validated what we were doing as well.
Yeah, so now this was in the year, you started in the year 2020, presumably.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And now you're 4 years on. How satisfied are you with the progress of the company?
So we've had our ups and downs, but obviously we are we believe we are a category creator and a category leader. There's no such company in the world at our scale or before us who's doing what we are doing. There were a lot of like physical spaces, but nothing in the online world. So yeah, from that point of view, we are blessed to have customers from 150 countries around the world.
How many customers have you got, like parents?
Around 300,000 lifetime
300,000.
Yeah, across the world. Yeah. So from that point of view, of course, we feel super blessed. But in terms of if you talk strictly business, then obviously everybody has their ups and downs. There are always new milestones, new challenges, new goalposts to achieve. So yeah, we want to continue to keep on building on the momentum that we've got so far.
How many employees now in the company?
About 77. Yeah.
Obviously, you don't want to give your turnover being a private limited company.
Yeah. I don't think the turnover number matters much to anybody anyway.
No, and anyway, as you were saying, how many countries you've got customer clients in? How many countries did you say?
So we have paying customers in more than 150 countries. I think last we checked it was 167 or something. So we have half of our business comes from India, but the other half comes from this long tail of a lot of countries around the world.
And all this is totally online, right? There's no.
Yeah.
It's like an online class for parents. Is that right?
No, it's not an online class. So the way it works is basically we give video instructions to parents on what activities they should do with their child, right? So it's pre-recorded videos because parents are busy people. It's pre-recorded. It's very, very short, 7-8 minute video. You watch the video, you know what you have to do, and it takes less than 5 minutes in a day to do it with your child. So it's very easy, very convenient. And then they can just like, we make their activity plans, weekly plans, daily plans, depending on how much you want to do. And then you just come on the app and say, okay, I did this, what's next? And it just keeps building up and you can see your progress as well. So it's not like a class or anything. It's simply, you have to do it at your own time, at your own convenience. And there is no screen time for the child, because we think that screen time is super evil for the baby. So there's no screen time for the child. The app is only for the parent.
Only for the parents.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yes. And what is the price range for the range of the price range starting and ending for these videos?
So the price actually differs country by country as well. And because, our costs in different countries are different.
Okay, for India.
For India, it starts from 500 rupees. We have programs for even close to 1.5 lakhs.
1.5 lakhs.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
But why this big range? What do you provide for
it depends. Like the 500 rupee program is just like an introductory program. So if you have no idea about early childhood education, you have no belief in this, you just want to see, okay, is this for me or not? So it's like a trial thing. Okay, very small, quick and easy. And the high level programs are for parents who are like convinced, okay, this is what I need for my baby. They've done, usually they've done a couple of our programs. They know it works. They've seen the results and they're like, I want everything. Just give me everything for the next 2 years. So it's for them.
So you give them a whole string of videos, as you said,
right?
Right?
Yeah. And also our programs also come with a lot of physical materials as well. So essentially, because we are screen free for the child, so if you have to teach like reading or maths or memory or anything, we need them to see something. We need them to see letters. We need them to do something, right? Like worksheets or something. So we send all of that to parents as well, because we can't show them on the phone.
Okay. So my next question was actually a little bit about Prodigy Baby.
Yeah.
What are the outcomes and parents and infants can expect from this app?
So what we say is that we don't want to promise that your child will get into IIT or Stanford or something like that, right? We want, at the very ground level, we want every child, every baby, every toddler to become the best version of their own talents and potential. So we have what we call Prodigy Framework, which is an holistic Prodigy Framework.
Okay.
It's like a holistic system where we basically go through every skill and talent known to humans. So for example, in terms of very specifically, if you are a baby and you come and do our program, we'll get your baby to start crawling early. So for example, our babies who do our program, they start belly crawling at 3 months instead of the usual of 8 months. It's talking, language development, reading, maths, memory development is a huge part of it. Music, creativity, creative thinking, problem solving, even character traits like persistence, curiosity, confidence. So it's a holistic program to develop all skills at the foundational level, because we are not trying to pigeonhole babies and kids into maths karna hai, you have to do maths, something like that, right? We want to give a lot of opportunities. And what we say is that it's better that you give 100 opportunities and your child learns 70 things, 70 out of 100, rather than giving them 20 opportunities and forcing them to learn all 20, right? So that's how it is. And then it's up to the baby, to the child, what they learn.
So, but isn't this like putting some pressure too early on children? I mean, some critics might say that you're actually pushing them too early into learning. So what do you say to that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a common misconception that people have, that, oh, are you putting pressure or not? And there are 3 things that we say to that. Number one is that, firstly, when you are a baby or a toddler, you can't force a baby or toddler to do anything that they don't want to do, right? If you're a 10-year-old child, you can say, you do your homework right now, otherwise you will not get ice cream, or you do it and I'll give you ice cream. But baby toddler, if they don't want to do, they'll just hit you, or if they can crawl and walk, they'll crawl and walk, or they just start yelling. They'll not do it if they don't want to do. But our babies and toddlers love our activities, right? So that means that they enjoy it, number one. Number two, there is no testing. So we have a rule. We have 3 rules in our company, but the third rule is do not test your child ever, right? Because testing creates performance pressure. If the child knows that you're going to test them, then next time they will not learn, because they know that you will be putting them under pressure to perform. So there's no testing. And there's no benchmarking also. We never say that your child is 95 percentile or 80 percentile. We don't create that kind of FOMO that some education companies are famous for doing, that they give you a test, they say your child is lagging behind, so you need to do. We don't do any benchmarking, right? So that's the second thing. The third thing is that, I mean, it's basically we are giving all-round development for the child, and it's only 5 minutes a day. It's screen-free. Child loves it. Child is exploring their curiosity. So there's absolutely no, anybody who's done our program, they know there's no pressure. But people who've not done it, they're like, "Acha, pressure daloge, ye wo." So yeah, so that is
I think, would it be correct to say that the key thing is it's an enjoyable activity for the child?
It's absolutely. I mean, if the child is not enjoying it, it will not work only. It's not like it's our goal for the child to enjoy. If they don't enjoy it, it will not work, because parent will not do it and child will also not respond. So the child must love it and respond. Then only parents will do it, and then only our programs will work. So yeah, so it's only 5 minutes a day, right? It's not like you're saying
5 minutes a day.
5 minutes a day. Yeah, it's only 5 minutes a day. So and there's logic to that as well, right? Like the logic for that is that if we adults, if we have to sit at a desk and do our work, we could go for 8-10 hours sitting at a desk and doing work. A 10-year-old boy will maybe do it for 45 minutes, 1 hour. Bring it down to the baby level. They cannot do more than 5 minutes in a day. They cannot. They don't have that capacity also, and they will get tired. So 5 minutes is actually like 10 hours of an adult, right? The second thing is that the baby's mind works super fast. If you imagine how fast a baby learns a new language versus if we have to learn a new language. For us, it's impossible. If you have to learn Japanese at this age, we can't learn. But a baby learns any new language effortlessly, right? Because their minds are also working very fast. So in 5 minutes a day, we can do so many things that we adults will struggle, but baby has learned it. So for first few times when this happens, then it blows the minds of parents, right? They're like, how is this even possible? And then after that, they get used to, my baby is smart. It's okay.
So your presumption is that all babies are inherently smart, right? To begin with.
It's a scientific truth. All babies at birth, what we say is all babies at birth are smarter than any other person who has ever lived on planet Earth.
Really? Okay.
Yes. But it's about the opportunities that they get from there onwards. Right. So see, it's like the easiest way to understand it is if you think about any person that you know who's an adult, somebody is good in music, somebody is good in sports, somebody has a good memory, somebody is good in maths. They have not suddenly become good in sports or music. They've always been good. If you think about your friends, right? Like they've always been good because knowingly or unknowingly, they developed that skill as a child. Nobody goes from being a 20-year-old to a 21-year-old and suddenly becomes a good singer. And converse is also true. If you're a bad singer, you're a bad singer for life, right? So knowingly or unknowingly, these skills are developed as a child. It has to. So yeah, so that's the idea.
It's correct to say that a person who's like a good sportsman today was actually inherently a good sportsman at age of like 1 or 2.
Not 1 or 2, but they developed their foundations at an early age. So they developed the strength, stamina, flexibility before the age of 5 or 6 years of age.
Okay.
So it's not like it's not possible to become a good sportsman after that, but it just gets more and more and more difficult.
More difficult, yes.
Just like how learning a new language for us is more difficult, right? So the other thing is, the other example that I use is, suppose you're typing, you've been typing on the keyboard for, I don't know, 30 years probably, right? Both of us have been typing on the keyboard for 20, 30 years. Are we increasing our speed? No. Are we increasing the speed of our typing?
No.
It's the same, right? Because when we started, we were very slow. Then we reached a certain limit. And then we've stayed at that limit no matter how long we've been practicing or doing that, right? That's how it works with learning and development as a child. When you are a child, when you are a baby, when you are a toddler, your learning goes super fast. And then after a certain age, it stays there. It doesn't, it flattens out. You have, after that, it will not work, right? So that window that you get for the first 6 years, 0 to 6 years, that, and what we say, we are not saying put pressure, benchmark your child, test your child. Give your child opportunities. And after that, it is up to the child what they will do, what they will not do. But give your child the opportunity. If you don't give the opportunity, if you don't give your child the opportunity to learn music, and then you because you say you're putting pressure there, how will they learn music? Right? Music, and it's the same. Music, maths, creativity, anything, physical activity. What most parents do is, a baby is born, they will swaddle up the baby in like a blanket, carry them in their arms, right? Why? Because doctors have told them, modern doctors have told them that when you do that, they feel that they are still in the womb. So they feel that comfort. But there's a reason that the baby has come out into the world. And they need to experience the world how it is supposed to be experienced. And they need to be able to free up their arms and legs. They need to be on the floor. They need to be belly crawling. They need to be crawling. They need to develop their strength. If you coddle them up, if you like wrap them up, you are restricting them. That's absolutely not natural. So anyway, so yeah.
Yes, a wonderful explanation. Yes, makes sense. Okay. Okay. So although it's accepted, I think you're in one of your website or somewhere I read that you will also help the prenatal development of children. Is that correct?
No, we don't do that. We don't do that. We don't have evidence to support that it can help in any way. It may not. We don't say it doesn't. We don't say it does. And we don't do anything. We know that the baby can hear things when they're still in the womb, but we don't have any prenatal development programs.
So you come into the picture only after the baby is born?
Right? After birth, yes.
About what age, for example?
So the best time to start our programs is around 2.5, 3 months, when the baby is 2.5. Yeah. But some parents start at birth as well. So at birth, but first 45, 50 days, the baby is only sleeping 18 hours a day. So there's not much to do. So it's only like care and it's very, very simple breathing, caring, massage stuff. But 2.5, 3 months is where we can actually start sort of doing things that the baby will really pick up very fast.
Wow, wonderful. Now, to go from to a sort of larger canvas, according to UNDP and WHO statistics, 45% of India's 165 million children below age 5 suffer severe malnutrition and perhaps stunting. So what's your comment?
So assuming that the numbers are correct, I think it's a very unfortunate situation for our future generation, because any development of the mind, the growth and development of the mind starts with proper nutrition. Right? So proper nutrition, and we say this in our programs as well, that our base pillar, so in our Prodigy Framework, base pillar is physical well-being, right? It is, and that comes from proper nutrition, proper rest, proper environment, and obviously proper exercise as well. So it's I think, especially in those 5-6 years, if you're not getting that proper nourishment, it's going to impact our future generation as well. And I think as a country, all of us, not just the government, all of us need to take this quite seriously, because it's the future generation that is going to get impacted. It's not just about survival of the child, it's also about how they would develop 15-20 years from now.
But don't you find it remarkable that all these years, say right up to the turn of the century, there was very little attention paid to early childhood education in India?
I personally feel that even now it is quite less. So although the new national education policy has included early childhood education as one of the core focus areas, but that education, that awareness, I mean, if I look at myself, until I started the company or started reading about it, I had no idea. And I would consider myself like one of the educated. I went to the right schools, right? But I had no idea about early childhood education. I was never taught in schools, and it blew my mind. And when I started talking about it within my families and friends, and then openly in the public, people were just, people were just like, you're crazy, right? These things are not important. You need to just leave the child alone. Early childhood is nothing. School starts later. You're trying to get them to start school at this age. It's not that. Early childhood education is supremely important. And I don't think it is surprising to me that before 2000, there was not much awareness about it. But I do feel that now that there are more and more people who are aware of it, we need to get the right message out so that people in the remotest village, they know ki, yaar, this is what happens. I need to do something with my baby.
So you agree with the education world that education, and especially early childhood education, is of, like you said, supremely important.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Whatever resources are required to make this happen, they should be mobilized somehow or the other, right?
So the way that I see it, is that when you are a new parent, there are two people that you listen to most. One is the doctor, pediatrician, and one is the teacher. When the child starts going to any type of school, play school also, preschool also, the teacher. These two people are the most influential people in your child's upbringing, apart from your own family circumstances, right? And I feel that there is very little awareness and education amongst even doctors and educators on early childhood, right? Because doctors, I wouldn't say that doctors are unaware. Doctors are aware, but they don't communicate that enough because they are mostly concerned with healthcare and medicine and not education. But even that communication push from doctors and pediatricians to parents that early childhood is important, just this much, right, can go a long way. And that is where we need to start. But obviously, government popularizing this whole messaging, more private companies coming in, publications like you also coming in and bringing it to the masses, I think awareness will definitely increase.
You know, the Nobel laureate for economics in the year, I think, 2007, had said, a man called Professor Heckman, he had said that $1 invested in early childhood education saves $16. He calculated it.
Yeah.
Along the education continuum.
Absolutely.
Because the foundation is strong. So
exactly. I've read that.
Yeah, they learn faster in secondary education, they learn higher in higher education, they learn faster. So what's your comment on that?
No, I've read that as well, and I agree. And I'm sure you've seen stats as well that even though 85% of the brain is developing before 6 years of age, only 2% of education funding is going before 6 years of age. 98% of funding is going in higher education, which makes no sense. At least some significant chunk has to be spent in early childhood, right? And the way that I think about it is, boss, if you see what's going to happen if you follow the normal trajectory, you're going to go to primary school, middle school. By the time you come to middle school or at most high school, you have like 500 different tutors coming and teaching you because you have like fallen behind. All of that expense can be saved if you just invest in early childhood education. You learn so fast, your memory is strong, your math is strong, your problem solving ability is strong. You don't need tutors. So I mean, I'm just bringing that $1 and $16 to like something that we can closely relate to
Yes.
how we can understand that. If yeah, so it's just that, right? Like if in a normal functioning society, why would you need at-home tutors after school? The school is for teaching. The rest of the time is for your extracurriculars and playing because you're still a child. But most of us have spent our childhood just going to tuitions. Yes. So, and I would say that is a result of not having spent enough, not having invested enough in early childhood education.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely correct. I think I mentioned to you that EducationWorld is one of the earliest champions of early childhood education. We held our first international conference on early childhood education in the year 2010. Yeah. And after that, we've been ranking schools, preschools, across in about 16 to 18 cities to create an awareness of exactly what you're saying, that invest more in early years education, and then you don't need to invest so much in later continuum of education, that's in school. And as you were recounting your own pressures, that you found a lot of pressure comes onto you when you're in class 10, class 12, and in higher education. That pressure, if you followed your recommendation, would be much less for children, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, I mean, the reason I'm doing this company is specifically because of my own experiences, and I've had deep experiences, which is, I think this is not the right forum or time to share those, but I have seen, like, you know, like I am going to the same teacher, same tuition, same classes, and there's another person who is doing the same thing and he's getting it in half a second and I'm like struggling. I mean, we come from the similar kind of background and everything, right? Like, what is that reason? And it comes down to what is your foundation. So it comes from there, right? Like, so, and I have like struggled quite a bit with this sort of this like just trying to understand why, like, what is wrong with me, you know? So yeah, the answer is so now the answer is clear, at least. Can't change anything, but the answer is clear.
So the National Education Policy 2020 has mandated early childhood foundational learning for all children in the age group 3 to 8. How revolutionary is this mandate?
So I think it's a step in the right direction. We need to see how strongly it is executed. And but it is definitely in the right direction, and I feel if there is a resolve in governments and successive governments and down to the state levels, district levels, etc., then definitely it can create a revolution. And I'm confident that if we invest in early childhood education today, we will reap the benefits, not today, not in 5 years, not 10 years, but 15, 20 years down the line. It is going to, I mean, it's a whole generational change that we will see. So one of the other things that I keep thinking is, you know, what is the difference between, if you see, like today, a lot of tech CEOs in the world are Indians, right? And most of them have gone to IITs or some sort of engineering degrees here and then some other degree abroad. And our generation was raised as a generation who could solve really good math problems. We're like real good engineers, right? But not come up with many creative solutions. That's how we've become CEOs. We've not become founders, right? If you see all the big tech companies, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever, we're not the founders, but we've risen to be the CEOs of Google, of Microsoft, etc., right? So so what I feel is that we have done that, and now if we invest in early childhood education today, the next generation can become that generation which come with the creative solutions as well, and is all round, well-rounded, has all the skills and talents of a well-rounded individual, and we can take the nation to a new level as well.
Yes, yes, indeed. I think we are in complete agreement. Education world and your and raising superstars is a complete agreement there. Well, I think we've now come to the end of our interview. But have you any other general comments or recommendations to make to perhaps government and society?
No, not really. I mean, first of all, thanks for inviting me for the interview. It was a pleasure talking with you and learning about education world as well. But I think this is what I always say is that if you've learned about if you have not learned about early education, go and educate yourself first. If you have already learned about early education, do something. Like, even if it is a couple of minutes in a day, whether it's with companies like us, whether it's on your own, do something. 1,000 units of good intent is 1 unit of action is better than 1,000 units of good intent. So go and do something. It's not like, oh, I will find the right time and the right calendar on my, right date on my calendar to start, where I can be if you learned it today, go and do something today, right? Like, it doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter if you're consistent or not. Do something every day. It will reap benefits, because your child is growing. Your baby is growing every single minute, every single day, and their window of time is passing by. So yeah, it's important.
Well, Raghav Himatsingka, thank you very much. Very interesting. And I wish Raising Superstars all the luck, because I really believe what you're doing is of critical importance to national development. And I hope your message goes out loud and clear. Our message, because we're on the same page as you are.
Thank you, Dilip ji. Thank you so much. Thank you.